up, Game Time fans? How you doing? Welcome to another live episode of the show here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I hope you're sitting back, relaxing, enjoying a beer or a beverage of your choice here, as most people have the day off, but not the Outlaw Nation and not Game Time. We're here to entertain you. Hopefully you're hanging out with us and you had a great July 4th. I am one of your hosts. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by my brother in Rushmore and my brother in sports. JT, how are you, man?
Good, man. Yeah, pretty full from eating a bunch of food this weekend at the 4th of July barbecue. And, I was also watching these games. I was really kind of pulling for Atlanta. But I think Milwaukee at the end of the day was the better team. I think they showed that. Yeah. And I'm excited to talk about the finals, man. That's going to be interesting.
Absolutely. We're going to get into how both the Suns and the Bucks got into the finals. We're going to talk about what the Clippers do next with their, powerful twosome. Atlanta is set. That's a young team. They're on the upswing, so nothing to really be said much about that. But then we're going to get into previewing the Suns versus Bucks, who we think is going to take that series or who's got the advantage going into that series as well. Get into some Euro 2020 stuff, talk some Sha'Carri Richardson suspension, and also get into that messy Rachel Nichols drama that's happened over there, speaking of the NBA over there, and also some football news, of course, some NFL news with Trevor Lawrence signing his contract, but also the NFL quietly handing out a $10 million fine to Dan Snyder and what that really means and what message it's actually sending to the NFL about what you can do as an owner in this league and get away with and still own your team. But let's start with the NBA playoffs here in just a second. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember the Streamlabs Super Chats are open. Hey, it's a holiday. If you're in a giving mood, send in some support here. Send in your Super Chats. Streamlabs, it is pinned to the chat. It's right there above JT's head, and it's in the description of this video as well. So whatever you want to ask us about the world of sports, send it in now, and we'll talk about it. Also, Winston couldn't make it. He's been having some car trouble lately, and Jay just needed to enjoy his holiday. So it's me and JT riding out as a twosome through this thing. So please send in what you can, and let's talk about it all and answer your questions, thoughts, and comments. All right, JT, the Suns took care of business. Finally, Chris Paul, after 16 years in the league, is going to the NBA Finals, and he led this team in Game 6 of this matchup here with the Clippers. They beat them in Los Angeles, his old stomping ground, for 6 years. The Suns, Chris Paul beat them 130-103. Chris Paul had 41 points. JT, as a basketball fan, as a lover of basketball, as a guy who plays the game on the courts, I've seen your game. He was a legend in this game. He used his body so well. He hit three-pointers like daggers. Nothing got to him, to the point that Patrick Beverley lost his damn mind and shoved him from behind. So is there a danger here that this is the best Chris Paul is ever going to play in these playoffs, or do you think this was just a man understanding the moment and embracing it, and he's ready for these finals?
A little bit of both. I think, listen, he knew this was a shot to get to finals. I think the way this team matched up with the Clippers, Beverly's a good defender. He's not like somebody to sneeze at. He could lock you down. So that was more impressive to me, how Beverly guarded him, and he was still able to just kind of get every shot he wanted. It was impressive to see some of his ball movement underneath and just pulling up for these little mid jumpers. Yeah, his mid range game is just off the chain. He is the mid range shooter of the NBA.
That's amazing.
Which is very smart. And what's so smart about him is that he saw that shooting was becoming more important in the league. Yep. And he worked on this mid-range game for the past few years and is paying dividends now in the NBA. Yep. Yeah, listen, I think this is a case of a guy who knows every single tool in his arsenal, when to use it. Yeah. He's a veteran. His shot is better than ever. Yes. And part of it was the drive of, hey, this is it, man. It's not going to get, they've been up in this series. You got to close it out. And yeah, Patrick Beverley, that was such a poor sportsmanship. What a bitch move. It was a bitch move. And I just think
I did. I don't want him coming after me. Go ahead. Yeah.
But let me tell you, that is what happens when you play somebody like Chris Paul, who knows how to take advantage of every angle of the game. Yeah. I think Patrick Beverley played great defense. He just, outplayed him on offense. He knew exactly what he was doing, and I can understand that frustration. We were like, I'm doing everything I can, and I can't stop him. 41 points is, that's crazy.
So, sometimes the great ones show up when called upon, and they really show you the breadth of their talent, and there's absolutely nothing you can do. It's not like they were playing bad defense on Chris Paul. He was finding those holes. I mean, that move he made on the baseline where he
behind the back a little bit.
Oh, my Lord. When he sent homie running to the end corner, he's like, totally. He just, I was like, how come no one's ever done that move? And in my mind, I've never seen anyone do that move.
Yeah.
And it was incredible the way he was able to maneuver into the lane and then use his body as a shield to get himself these little baby floaters. It's just incredible how he was able to take over that game. And Devin Booker, who is actually the superstar of the team, seemed to be quite happy to sit back and let it be the Chris Paul show.
Totally.
He didn't try to mess with it at all. We talk about 41 points for Chris Paul, 8 assists, 3 steals, 4 rebounds. But then you look at Devin Booker, 22 points, 1 block, 4 assists, did his thing. Not a great shoot night for him, 1 for 7 from the 3-point line. But DeAndre Ayton showed up, 16 points, 17 rebounds. And then Jay Crowder had 19 points himself. People don't remember Jay Crowder and what he can do. He played for your Celtics. That guy can show up when he needs to.
Yeah. I like Crowder. I was mad when he left because not only can he spot up and shoot, but he's one of those players. Every time there seems to be a loose ball or a hustle play, he seems to be involved. Yeah. Like he doesn't take plays off. He just seems like he gives 110% every time he's on the court. If he doesn't affect the game with his scoring, he'll affect it in almost every other category, whether it be defense, rebounds, steals. He's just an all-around great energy player. I'm a big Crowder fan. I was sad when he left the Celtics, but he's doing great with this team. Like he's one of those complementary players. And when you put him with Chris Paul and Booker, who are going to take care of the scoring, you need people like Crowder he'll still hit those open threes, but he's also going to get down and dirty underneath the boards on defense. Like he's one of those great role players, I feel like.
He's got no shame getting in there, getting dirty. Absolutely. And remember last year he was riding with Miami and went to the finals as well. So he's now his second trip to the finals here with Phoenix. He's absolutely a fantastic complimentary piece to have on that team. I was very impressed by these Suns and what they were able to do at JT, especially because if they had lost, we're going to a game 7. You got a little bit of a younger squad. Yeah, you got Jay Crowder and you got Paul with the veteran experience, but it does a little doubt start to creep into Chris Paul's mind. Sorry, if you go to game 7 in Phoenix having to show up and do the thing, especially now the Clippers become the underdog in that situation. And we saw what they were able to do in Phoenix. So were you impressed by the way they came out and just absolutely handled whatever the Clippers threw at them, even during that run in the second half? It looked like they might be climbing back into the game. Yeah. Phoenix settled it down and took care of business.
I mean, listen, the Clippers have too much talent on that team. You can't take them lightly ever. Like you can't leave the window open. You can't leave the back door open. You can't leave the chimney open. You got to close every door possible to make sure they can't crawl back into that series because listen, again, we talked about this last week. Yeah. Clippers easily could have won 2 of those first 3 games.
Oh yeah.
So I think the Suns realize how lucky a position to be in. The position they're in, they're very lucky. Yeah. Luck is part of any sport. If Crowder doesn't throw that perfect pass to Ayton with 0.8 seconds left, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And I hate to say it too, I do think if Kawhi Leonard was in the series, this might not be the Suns in the finals. Yeah. You can't discount one of the top 5 players in the league not being in a series. And it was still a pretty close series.
Absolutely.
So I feel like if Kawhi was in this, the Clippers might be going to the finals.
I think that's not a off-base statement to make. Certainly Paul George said that after the game in the post-game press conference. If Kawhi was playing, we'd have won this series. And he's not. He might not be wrong, as you echo, JT, because you're right. That if that's not a pin-perfect pass from Crowder to Ayton, they win that game, irregardless of Paul George's missed free throws. He kept them in this series. And I did say last week, on last week's game, you find the tape, ladies and gentlemen, I said Paul George and the Clippers were going to win that game in Phoenix and send it back to LA, and then Paul George was going to have 40 points because old veterans, I don't want to say old, but veterans don't like it when the young punks think they can step into the game and beat them easily. So I knew that pride was going to come through. It was, could they keep that pride going over the next 2 games? And unfortunately, in game 6 for the Clippers, they couldn't. But What's your assessment now as you look at these Clippers, JT? Let's move to that because I think we know what we've got in the Suns now, and we'll talk about Suns versus Bucks in just a little bit. But what's your point of view on these Clippers? Kawhi Leonard is up as he could bolt. He's an unrestricted free agent at this point. Is he going to stay or restricted free agent? Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? There are rumors that Miami is interested. New York is interested. Dallas is interested to pair him with Luka Doncic, or maybe the Clippers make a move and get rid of Paul George and bring in Damian Lillard. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think it's going to be a lot of noise and Paul George and Kawhi are going to stay together next year?
I think they stay together. I think for me, it felt like there's a lot of unfinished business. We didn't have Kawhi for this series.
Right.
They were down twice in this playoffs by 2 games and came back. I really just think it feels like unfinished business. I don't feel like they've given it. I don't think after, especially what it took to get him to Clippers.
Yeah.
I think this is where he wanted to be. And I don't see him jumping ship. Now, Paul George, I think if he wants to come back for the right price, he's going to be back also.
Okay.
The Lillard thing, that's always a possibility.
Right.
But to say we know where Lillard's going to be next season, who knows? It's too much of an unknown. You can't really be banking on that. So for me, I'm Paul George. I'm Kawhi Leonard. I'm talking to each other in off season. I'm like, we could have won this series if you were in it. Let's go next year and take care of business and hopefully be healthy. And we'll actually have a good amount of time off now before the next season starts.
True.
And again, if I'm, the Clippers, I am managing this team.
Yeah.
To be as healthy as possible and to when they get in the playoffs. You got to take that LeBron AD approach. It didn't work out for them this year, but we've seen other teams do this. Greg Popovich did this with the Spurs, especially during the later years of Tim Duncan. He made sure his players were going to be, his whole team was going to be healthy by the end of the year, because when you have these starters and this bench all healthy, they're a tough team to beat, man. And Kawhi is the clutch guy. Yeah. Paul George made some steps forward, but he's still not the clutch guy at the last minute of the game. Yeah. So, but he showed signs of it. His game improved in the playoffs, for sure. But if I'm the Clippers, I run it back. They feel like they probably could have took care of business this season if it wasn't for the injuries. Yeah, and just to clarify here, Kawhi Leonard can exercise his player option and become an unrestricted free agent this summer. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of NBA rumors that Dallas is going to make a hard run at him, and that's because Nico Harrison is the Mavs general manager, and he developed a very strong relationship with Kawhi Leonard over there when he was working for Nike. So there's rumors that they want to pair him up with Doncic and see what they've got there. Remember that Kawhi Leonard tried to get Jimmy Butler to come to the Clippers and didn't. So does Kawhi Leonard now turn around and go to Miami? Is that a problem? I mean, you've got a proven coach in Spoelstra who can win titles. I know Tyronn Lue won one, and he certainly showed that he can coach a hell of a series with his main superstar out on the bench. Hurt, losing Zubac for the last 2 games, losing Serge Ibaka. He was able to keep these games close for the last game, obviously, and put LA in a possible position to win the series, even without Kawhi. But Spoelstra, you've got a great pedigree in the Miami Heat there as well. But a lot of rumors are saying that he might stay as well. A lot of people rather are saying that he might stay because he just purchased a $17.1 million house in the Pacific Palisades. But the money, what do you do with the money here? Because you've got Serge Ibaka, who's a $9.7 million player option next season. Reggie Jackson and Nick Batum are both unrestricted free agents. You're going to pay Reggie $80 million possibly to stick around and maybe get into a position of getting into the finals next year. I don't know. Do you trust Reggie off of 1 year to pay him that kind of money? I don't know. And then, of course, there are free agents like Kyle Lowry's out there, DeMar DeRozan, Spencer Dinwiddie, Lonzo Ball. So you think firmly that he's going to stay, though. But do you think he'll be able to recruit? And do you think Paul George stays? Do you think Paul George goes anywhere? Do you think Paul George saw that he could lead a team again and was like, maybe this isn't the place for me. Maybe I need to go be the alpha dog someplace else? No, I think Paul George, listen, he balled out in a couple of these last games. Certainly and did. They still lost. Yeah. I think in today's NBA, you need a 2 or 3 headed dragon to make it to the final. It's no longer one guy taking the team to the NBA finals. You need that second or third piece, like Brooklyn, Lakers. So for me, I think you keep Paul, Reggie made it hard for them because he played unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, but was that just this 1 year?
Was it a blip? Was it a blip?
Yeah. Was it a blip? Well, he regressed back to what he was. And he was never a bad player, but he was never the player he was in this playoffs.
Right.
He hit some of the biggest shots of the series.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's listen, I'm not the GM of the Clippers. I'm glad I'm not, because there's definitely going to be some hard choices.
Yeah.
I think it really does come down to who's available for agency, how much are they asking for, how much is Reggie going to want. Reggie seemed like when he did his interview at the end of that Clippers game, he seemed so thankful for giving the Clippers, really giving him kind of rejuvenating his career.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is he maybe going to give him a little bit of a discount because of that? Like maybe he wants to stay with the Clippers. He realizes this is his best chance to win a series. So again, I think it's a really hard job. You know, the NBA offseason is insane. Free agency is insane. Every year you get a text or a notification on Twitter like who went where, what? So it's hard to predict what's going to happen. But if I'm the Clippers, I think you lock down Paul, you lock down Kawhi. Yeah. Especially with what Paul George showed in this offseason. If he could play close to that with Kawhi, I mean, that's good. You got a really bright future.
But that's been the complaint all season all season and last season as well, is that why can't Paul George do it consistently with Kawhi, right alongside Kawhi? Why does he take certain games off? I mean, but by the same token, we've got a Bucks in the finals who Giannis and Middleton take turns sometimes on who's on and who's off, and they were still able to reach the finals. We'll talk about in just a second. But you look at this Clippers team, and you wonder, is this a situation where Paul George maybe realize? Well, I know he's been extended, but is he going to realize that it ain't the place for him? That's what I keep thinking about over and over again. But just because he showed he could score 30, 40 points, lead a team, he was able to do that in Indiana. They didn't really go anywhere. So did he learn something by being the alpha dog during this tight playoff series? Did his teammates start to trust him a bit more? And did he turn around the narrative? Because when you look at the stats, he wasn't playing bad at all. Without Kawhi, he was actually playing really well. So is that going to be enough to win some of the fans over? But I agree with you. I think one more run with this crew. Tyronn Lue certainly showed that he's an excellent coach. So can he take this team to the next level? And Ballmer, when he's done grabbing people's thighs, he can focus on opening up the checkbook a little bit and maybe bringing in the right talent, because that may be the next piece too. Is like, well, what do you have behind Paul George, behind Kawhi Leonard, and behind if you re-sign Reggie Jackson, behind them to make the difference. If Kyle Lowry is out there, I don't know how you don't go after him. I don't know.
Yeah, it really comes down to money at that point, I think. And again, if Reggie could get him if you get him for a lot cheaper than Lowry, and if he could play the way he did, I would stick with that.
Yeah. And you look at Luke Kennard's salary, that's another part of this equation as well. Luke is on a 4-year, $64 million contract, which kicks in next season. So maybe they might look at trading him, getting that off the books and bringing in something in that respect. I don't know how much you get for Luke Kennard, though. And I don't know how he's making $64 million. Yeah.
Everyone in the NBA is making way more money than they should, I feel like. Hey, man. Cash it in, man. Cash it in.
Get what you can. Absolutely. Alex Tornai says, would it be realistic for Kyle Lowry to join the Clips? Is he too costly for them? That might be the missing piece, along with PG and Kawhi. Yeah, certainly we saw with Brooklyn, JT, you bring in Kyrie, James Harden, and Durant. That three-headed monster would have absolutely stomped everybody this season, but they couldn't get out his injury. So do you think this is the missing piece for them to bring? Like Chris Paul coming into this Phoenix team is a veteran point guard like Kyle Lowry, who has won a title with Kawhi Leonard. Is he the piece that might be missing here?
I mean, for sure. If they could get him and it works out, then absolutely you go for it. Again, like I said, three-headed dragon. These three would be fantastic. And Kyle Lowry is a great scorer, but he's also just a great point guard.
Yes.
And I think he can make the job a lot easier for Kawhi and Paul George. It's hard. There's that old thing is like, how many scores is too many scores? That's no longer an argument in NBA.
Yeah. No.
It used to be an argument. Now with Brooklyn, it's like if you get 3 stars like that could just turn it on whenever, you go for it. So if they get Kyle Lowry, great. Yeah. Reggie Jackson. But if you end up with Reggie, you're not in a bad spot.
No. I guess not. I just would need to see more, and I don't know if I want to trust my next season fully on Reggie. I just don't know, especially if you're going to pay Reggie. Does Reggie start to take a little bit of a backseat, relax a little bit, not focus as hard? But, JT, you bring him back some point. He seemed very appreciative about being reborn in LA. Maybe that's enough motivation for him to get paid or give him a discount and work on his game even more. Maybe he's found a coach that really understands him and can communicate with him, because some of the coaches he's played for, I think you could argue, aren't the greatest coaches or the best coaches for a player like Reggie Jackson. All right, see we got any more Streamlabs? No, keep sending them in, ladies and gentlemen. Zach Woolley, thank you very much for the sticker. Appreciate that. If you want to send in the Streamlabs super chats, it is pinned to the chat. It is also in the description and right above JT's head. That's the address. So let's move on to our next thing, JT. Let's talk about the Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, for the first time since the 70s, have gotten themselves into the NBA Finals here. They beat Atlanta over the last two games in a row to secure their spot there, beating them in Game 6, 118-107 in Atlanta. Chris Middleton, 32 points. Drew Holiday really showed you why he was an essential part of this team. 27 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. They won both of these games without Giannis. They had lost the game prior to these two games without Giannis there, and with Atlanta playing. Oh no, so with Giannis playing but getting hurt in the third quarter, but the Atlanta playing without Trae Young, Atlanta still beat them. So I thought this was going to be a little more, possibly 7-game series. After that, it went to 6. Are you impressed by what they were able to do? Do you think they even need Giannis right now the way they're playing?
I mean, first of all, of course you want Giannis. That's ridiculous. Right. Listen, but you gotta give props to Brook Lopez. He, especially in the game before this last game, Game 5, he dominated the whole first half. Dominated the game. It was insane. It was like Brook Lopez of old. He was getting dunks, alley-oops. He was hitting shots, steals, blocks. I was like, what is happening here? So I really feel like he stepped his game up big time, and he's a big reason why I think they're now in the finals. And of course, Drew Holiday got super aggressive. It was playing fantastic. So Atlanta, it's so weird watching that Game 5 when you had neither Trae Young or Giannis, and that's the game where Brook Lopez took over, and Drew Holiday played great, and Middleton was good too. He was solid. It was so weird watching a Eastern Conference Finals game with neither of the two superstars in the game. And then when the second game, Trae Young coming back, he wasn't 100%. It was obvious. His shots were off. His floaters, he's so well known for.
He was too hesitant.
They were hitting the back of the rim. You could tell he just wasn't 100%. And you need Trae for that team. You need Trae Young at 100%. Because he brings a whole different level of explosive offense that you can't get from anybody else on that team. That team has a lot of great shooters and has a lot of great players. But you need Trae Young to be that spark. The biggest game out of the whole series, that is the head scratcher, is the one where Atlanta won with Giannis in the game. And
won decisively, JT.
But I think Milwaukee has showed throughout this playoffs, sometimes they just don't show up to games. So to me, that I'm putting that up to one of the games where they thought they were going to get an easy win. They took Atlanta for granted, and they lost. And then Giannis got hurt. And I think what it showed was that I think with Trae Young out, they really just aren't as good as the Milwaukee Bucks. I think the Milwaukee Bucks' depth is better. I think they're better on defense. I think Atlanta is made of basically shooters. And I just watched the game. I'm like, Milwaukee's the better team. Even without Giannis, they're the better team. But I would love to have seen this series with a healthy Trae Young and a healthy Giannis throughout the whole, because I think it could have been either it could have been it was a coin flip, honestly.
I mean, you're right, Trae. I mean, that injury when he got it, and ironically stepping on a referee's foot, it made the difference, honestly, in either keeping these games close or at least, either the possibility of them winning could have been higher, or keeping these games a little bit closer than they were, Trae Young would have been essential in that. He's got that killer instinct. He's marched into this playoffs. He showed you're going to march into New York and take him out, march into Philadelphia and take him out. So there was no reason to believe he couldn't do that with a hobbled Giannis against this Bucks team. Unfortunately, he was hobbled himself and couldn't come back. He was very frustrated. He gave a number of post-game quotes and responses saying how frustrated he was that he wasn't healthy enough. But this is the game, and sometimes when you're young, it's not your time. So you just got to take the lessons, heal, get better, and learn. And that's what I think. This Atlanta now should scare the hell out of everybody in the East. And certainly Milwaukee has shown that just because you haven't gone to the finals in a while doesn't mean you can't get there on a run. And so Atlanta could be on a run next year for sure. And right now, Giannis is questionable. What would you sit out Giannis and see how you do in game one against this team, how you match up, how your team responds? What do you do here?
It's like I would love to answer that question, but I need to talk to every doctor on the team. I need to talk to Giannis, his agent. Like, I need to know what we're getting. Like, if you're telling me if Giannis is like, I could play game one to be at like 95%, then I'm like, get your ass in there. But if he's like, I'm 60% right now, then maybe, okay, let's not risk you getting hurt more. And let's go with it. Because, Brook Lopez did play great and they played really well his last two games. But Brooklyn's, the Suns are a different team.
Right.
They're a much better team overall, I think, than Atlanta because of Booker, Paul, and Ayton. So for me, you're playing with fire. To me, I would have a big group meeting with all the doctors, Giannis, his team, and be like, where are we at? What do you, first and foremost, I would go to Giannis and be like, how does it feel? Do you feel like, what percentage are you at? Are you at 90? Are you at 80? Are you at 70? Because I don't want you out there. If you think you could re-hurt yourself, that's when I'll be talking to doctors. It's a very tough decision. And then at the other end, this is the finals. Yeah. You want your best player in that game, every game, if you can. So to me, I'd leave it up to the doctors. I'd leave it up to, the experts. I wouldn't make an emotional decision. I would make a calculated medical decision on what the doctors say. Okay. Because you can probably hang with the Suns without him for a game, maybe two. Okay. But you're taking that risk of going down 2-0. Right. So to me, if he's 90% or above, you're in there. Even maybe 85%. I'm putting him in there, but I will restrict his minutes. Okay. And if the doctor says, hey, you know what? He's at 80, but if you hold off 2 games, you'll have 100%. Then you really have to start earning your money as a coach and a GM and be like, shit, what do we do here? Because it's a tough decision, man. I would hate to be put in that position, but that's why they get paid the big bucks.
Yeah, I know probably Adam Silver wasn't too excited to have Phoenix versus Milwaukee, 2 mid-market teams going at it in the NBA Finals, but depending on Giannis' status here, JT, this could be actually a really fun finals that could go 7 games between both of these teams. Let's kind of move into that real quickly. Giannis obviously being the X factor, his health right now, according to multiple reports, he's trying to get back to game 1, which is tomorrow night, by the way. Tomorrow night is happening, game 1 at 6 p.m. PT, 9 p.m. ET. There, and it's going to run through this week and into next week if it goes that far. So you've got this situation here with Giannis. You're not sure which way he's going. I mean, that affects your defense. It affects your offense, obviously. But on the other side of it, Brook Lopez, as you said, apparently over the last 2 games, really showed up and showed out with his ability to defend the pick and roll. And this is where Phoenix has really made their bread and butter all season, their ability to play on the pick and roll. If Lopez has figured this out, this could make for a very interesting strategic finals for sure. Because, remember, Milwaukee adjusted to that 48-point outburst by Trae Young in game 1 and completely kind of settled him down in terms of the amount of points he was able to score. Do you think they can do this to Devin Booker and then essentially make this Phoenix team become a Chris Paul team that is dependent on that guy to win the game? What do you see happening here in this finals?
This is so tough. It's because we don't know what Giannis' situation is. Giannis is a huge presence underneath the hoop. And he's one of those freak athletes who has the size the strength, the wingspan, and the speed that most players don't have. Like, he could change plays single-handedly just by being in the game. Brook Lopez doesn't have that explosiveness, but he's a veteran. He's seen everything. Every kind of play you could throw at him, he's seen before. So I think that helps also. I think with a healthy, again, 100% healthy Giannis, I think Milwaukee on paper is the better team.
Wow.
I think they're only because Devin Booker is still young. He could ball out, but he could also have a bad day. Chris Paul could have a shoulder injury in game 2, and he might be out for the series. I think Ayton will give Giannis some problems. But I think Giannis is the better player. So I think you're winning on that matchup. If Drew Holiday plays the way he's been playing his last couple games, he's going to give Chris Paul some problems, and I think he could give Chris Paul some problems. And Middleton, if he goes off in one of these 40-point games, just like Booker does for the Suns, I don't know. I just feel like the matchups, I feel like Milwaukee's should be a little bit favored in this series. Now, another thing I really want to talk about is the 3-point percentage. Anytime, these are two teams that are great at 3-pointers. But what we find with these 3-point teams is they struggle, they usually lose. They're hitting their shots, they win. Whatever team I think has the better 3-point percentage throughout the series is the team that wins this series. I think that's definitely a huge factor. But again, there's no presence quite like Giannis underneath the hoop. He's such a game changer, and with him not knowing what his availability, how much percentage he's good to go, it really puts a wrench into this whole finals for me. It really comes down to Giannis and how much he's a factor or not a factor. If he's 100% for this series, I'm taking Milwaukee. With him not being 100%, and I actually might miss some games, I kind of want to favor the Suns. So I cannot wait until 1, will he play tomorrow? And 2, if he does, then I'm really going to get an idea of where the series is going to go.
I mean, this is an interesting situation when you look at this finals, and there's so many storylines to talk about, so many matchups to explore. I mean, you've got PJ Tucker on one side and Jay Crowder on the other. You could argue that's essentially two clones of the same kind of player, man. They cancel each other out. They're both going to hustle on defense. They're both going to get at it. They're both going to get in your face, and they're both going to, be talking the smack and be a tough emotional leader for each of their teams. So that's great to have that kind of presence. What I call a snub-nosed presence on the court. That's essential. Every team needs one. And so you have that factor there. But you're right with Giannis. Because Giannis' speed, his defensive ability to run out on the perimeter and guard like Chris Paul or run back to the paint and guard DeAndre Ayton. He's incredible at what he's able to do. And it's a lot to be missing against what I agree with you, a better team, a better shooting team, better overall constructed team, and a driven team like these Suns seem to be. They seem like the team of destiny. But you look at this situation with the Bucks, right? They went toe-to-toe with these Nets and came back down 3-2 to take that series in overtime. One toe away from possibly losing that series, but it doesn't matter. Just like maybe the Suns are one fumbled throw in from losing this series. So you just never know. So there's a lot of factors. So clearly these were the two teams that are meant to be here. I think the Suns have the momentum, but there's something about Milwaukee's tough-nosed approach with Giannis kind of sitting a couple of these games out that I really like seeing over these last two games. This kind of drive, this determination. Everybody's discounting Drew Holiday because they're all talking about Chris Paul or Devin Booker, even Cameron Payne, more than they're talking about Drew Holiday. So how is that going to affect him overall as a point guard? Is he going to earn his money here? So I think this is going to be a heavyweight fight all the way to the end. And I got a weird feeling that if Giannis is at least 90% and stays in these games, the Bucks are going to take this series because I think they're just going to smother these Suns defensively. And I think the Suns are just slightly younger. And this veteran presence on the Bucks is going to be enough to choke the life out of the Suns by the end of the series. Emotionally, I want the Suns. Logically, as a basketball head, I think it's going to be the Bucks.
I agree. you watch these Suns play and you do kind of root for them. You're rooting for Chris Paul to get that ring.
Sure.
He's going to play his ass off this whole series. But Milwaukee has been in the playoffs in the past few years. They've actually made some runs. They had some early exits. This is new to the Suns. Like this is their first year in the playoffs. And just like the Hawks made it all the way to the conference. Yeah, made it all the way to conference finals.
Yeah.
Now I do think having Chris Paul, a veteran, offsets some of that. It's tough, man. I think when you look at paper, I think Milwaukee, they have an inside presence that the Suns do not have. Yeah. I think Ayton had shown some really good signs in these series, but he's going to be up against Giannis now.
Yeah.
And when Giannis puts his head down and just goes towards the hoop, there's not many things in this league that can stop him. And I think, it's actually, I think Charles Barkley, to quote Inside the NBA, I think he said it was actually a good thing for Giannis to be hurt, not because he shouldn't be playing, but this team got to figure out how to work together without Giannis and win some playoff games, and it made some players, I think, find themselves a little bit like Drew Holiday, show that they have another level. Same way Kawhi going out pushed Paul George to up his game. I think it upped the game of the rest of the team. And now when Giannis comes back, if they can continue to play, above their standards, I think they'll be a tough team to beat, man. And again, the 3-point percentage will be also a big factor.
And another part to throw in, and we'll move on from here after this. I think the Suns have every team they've played heading into this finals has lost their star player either in the series or right before the series, right? I mean, you got LeBron, AD in that first round series. Then they lose. They had the situation with Kawhi Leonard and what have you with the Clippers. And then you look at this situation here with Milwaukee. They stomped all over Miami to kind of get a little revenge for that situation last year. Then they had their manhoods tested against these Brooklyn Nets, and they came through in overtime in Brooklyn after Durant had tied the game. That's usually an emotional swing for the home team. They were able to withstand it, and now took care of business here against a frisky Atlanta Hawks team. So I think the Bucks have had a harder road to get to these finals. They're more tested, and so I think that's why I kind of give them the edge a little bit more. Now, the Suns can really shut everybody up if Giannis comes back and they still take this finals. I think that'll be one of the greatest accomplishments any NBA team has ever done, considering all the pieces that have been moving around for the Suns. I mean, Chris Paul is no guarantee to finish out this series. Shoulder injuries, right hand injuries, the COVID situation. He's had to overcome a lot in this finals, so you hope he stays healthy. But I just feel like the Bucks have a more, I don't know, just a stronger, hard-nosed mentality overall, and might be the thing that carries them through this finals.
And also, I think this happens a lot in the past. Don't overreact to game one of the NBA Finals or even game two, because it takes a game or two for these two teams to figure each other out. Yeah, and sometimes a team will figure a team out in the second game, and then it's over. Next 4 games are they kill them. I think what will be interesting is if you do not have Giannis for the first game, possibly 2. Yeah, people might be ready to, in the Suns blow out the Bucks. That people might be ready to write this team off, and then Giannis comes back and they're like, "Oh wait, this is a whole different beast." Yeah. Remember when the 76ers and Iverson beat the Lakers in game 1? I think in LA. Yeah, and everyone was like, everyone was
all over Tyronn Lue. Yeah.
Everyone thought it's over, and then the Lakers went and just whooped their ass for the rest of the series. So I'm not going to overreact to game 1. No. Even if Giannis does play and they lose, I still won't overreact, because both these coaches are going to make some changes. Yeah. And I think it's going to be a good series. Who's going to win it? Like I said, I think it's going to be really close, but if Milwaukee and Giannis are 100%, I'm going with Milwaukee. But listen, can't count out either of these teams.
No. I mean, and once again, you play whoever's in front of you, And I'm not trying to take anything away from the Suns, but you know, it's interesting how this is happening every round. As I mentioned, with the Lakers, Andrew Davis, Jamal Murray for the Nuggets not being able to play there, and in this situation here, what happened, with Paul George and Kawhi. So now you've got this situation here with Giannis. So this is interesting. I just think it's going to be fun to see Monty Williams versus Budenholzer, to see who's going to be able to strategize here, who's going to be able to make the right moves. We've seen Budenholzer get dinged for not making good in-game management decisions or in-game decisions. That could come back to haunt him. We shall see, because it's certainly, they persecuted him for that last year and a couple of years. And when he was coaching the Hawks, he got a lot of crap for that as well. So will that be the difference? And Monty, we'll see. This could be a coming out party for Monty Williams as a coach as well. So that could be fascinating. So a lot of moving pieces. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. is the first game here, PT, at least on our side. So I can't wait to watch. I'm looking forward to it for sure. Yeah. All right, let's get to some of these Streamlabs and Super Chats here that have come through real quick. Tim Sim says the NBA Finals is going to be glorious. That everyone is talking about everyone but the finalists. Come on, man. We just spent 20 minutes talking about the finalists. We had to lead into it, Tim. We had to lead into it. So I hear you. I am Fly Cam AWA. I am too Fly Cam AWA says, there go my Bucks. You doubted them every round, Rocha. Eat crow. LOL, the 2021 champs. I just picked them. And also, how are you going to crow about the Bucks when you got a Bulls fucking avatar? What the hell are you talking about? You got Derrick Rose in the Bulls avatar. What are you talking about?
I know Chicago's close to Milwaukee, but pick one of them.
Pick one of them, for God's sakes. Alex Tornai says, pick one player for your team, Trae Young or Luka. Oh, God damn.
I'm taking Luka only because I think – they have little bit of different games. Obviously, Trae Young, I think, relies much more on his speed and explosiveness than Luka does. And I think one injury could hurt Trae Young. But I think Luka's talents are kind of like ground basement level. Like he doesn't need that speed. It's almost like he works angles a little bit better. They're both great players, and Trae Young's played fantastic, but I would probably take Luka.
I would take Luka as well. I just think he's more of a foundational player. Yeah. Trae Young is a little wispy to me. I don't like to see wispy players. I get worried about them getting injured, and sure enough, he did get injured in the series against the Bucks. So I get worried about that. Do I think he's a killer? Do I think he's going to be a hell of a player and possibly lead Atlanta to a title? Absolutely. But I like Luka's tools already. I like his swagger. I like his cockiness. I like that he's totally turning over an organization and shaking it out and making some changes there, because he knows he is a generational player, generational talent. He just had a triple-double to lead his country to the world championships here. So this guy is an incredible player. I just think Luka's he seems to be more of the stronger deal than Trae Young at this point. That could change, but right now you're asking me, and I would take Luka Doncic as well. As much as I love Trae Young, no slight to Trae Young at all. All right, we got a couple of Streamlabs that come through as well. Thank you so much. Please, if you want to send the Streamlabs, the address is right above JT's head. It's pinned in the chat, and it's also in the description of this video. We would appreciate any support you can send it as we go in to the next few minutes of the show. Shamir Kelly says, hi, guys. A couple of weeks ago, I super chatted. I was picking the Phoenix Suns. So after game 2 against the Clippers, I bought a Suns shirt from the NBA store that's being delivered Wednesday. So Phoenix Suns in 6 games. All right, Shamir. All right. Appreciate that.
Just make sure the t-shirt doesn't say champions. Like, just have it say, or make sure it says Western Conference champions. Nothing worse than when they give out those shirts to Goodwill for the team that didn't win.
That's true. All right. Aaron Kirby says, silly fun question because of Space Jam 2 coming out soon. That's right. It's like a week or 2 away. Yeah, here it is. You guys got to put together a basketball team from your favorite cartoon characters as kids. Who would you pick? And they can't be Looney Tunes characters. Shit.
It can't be Looney Tunes characters. All right. Let's start with Samurai Jack.
All right.
He's just a leader. He's my Chris Paul.
Quiet, reserved, get it done. All right.
Quiet, reserved. Then I'm gonna go with. I'm trying to think of like childhood cartoons.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. Oh, God, that's not really a kid's cartoon. I watched a lot of. Let's go to X-Men, the animated series. Let's bring in not Wolverine. I don't think he would work out very well. I'll go with Beast. He'll grab rebounds. He'll be a beast on the boards. So we got Beast, we got Samurai Jack. Then I will go Inspector Gadget.
Oh wow, good choice.
Yeah, he's so many things he can pull off. He'll cheat.
Yeah.
He'll use every kind of tool he can to cheat, and he's got those arms that got really deep. 2 more players. What else am I thinking? Man, this is tough.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think like the cartoons I watched as a kid. They were like He-Man, G.I. Joe. Let's go Raphael. He's my Patrick. He's my Patrick Beverly. He's gonna shove people in the back. He's got a hot temper. He's gonna get technical at some point during the game, but he's gonna rally the rest of the team.
Okay.
He's gonna be my enforcer basically. So I'm going Raphael from the Ninja Turtles, and then I guess I'll end it with. Man, I don't know who my last player should be.
Come on, man.
Let's go Captain Planet because all the kids will be my bench.
Okay.
Because he has all those kids, which are all different nationalities, different diversity. So they'll be my bench players, and Captain America will be my power forward.
All right. I respect it. Look, I'm a little bit older than JT, so I'm going to go a little bit farther back in time, and that's the Hanna-Barbera characters. I got Space Ghost as one of my power forwards. How could I not? Dr. Benton C. Quest as my coach. That's my coach.
Wow, okay.
He's drawing up the plays here. Grape Ape is my center. How could he not be? What are we talking about here? Adam Ant is my point guard. He's my man out there distributing, shooting from the outside. Captain Caveman is also my other power forward, handling business overall. And I got Bam Bam out on the wing popping trays because who's gonna post up Bam Bam? You can't post up Bam Bam. That guy can throw you. That little boy can throw you all kinds of places. And on my bench, I got Fred Flintstone. Absolutely, Fred Flintstone on the bench, itching to get in there. You know he's my Jay Crowder. He's my sixth man. He's my PJ Tucker. I like that. What's gonna have a heart attack?
He's like a middle-aged old man.
He's gonna bring some defensive presence. That's what.
Who's your coach?
I just told you, Robert C. Benton.
Oh, Robert C. Benton.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I should pick. For coach, I will go with.
Oh yeah, I guess the Globetrotters had their own cartoon.
Oh, they did.
Just went with that.
That's a good point. I guess I'll go back to the Ninja Turtles. I'll go Splinter. He's more of a.
It's a good choice.
He's more of a spiritual coach. Like he'll calm everybody down, kind of like Phil Jackson. He'll meditate with them. He'll get them to be level-headed.
You need that. He-Man is power forward. Lino is shooting forward.
Lino's good.
Colossus as your center. Beast as the coach, and Snake Eyes is my point guard. All right,
nice. That's pretty good. I like Snake Eyes in there.
I don't know if He-Man and Lionel could get along. Those are two pretty boys. I mean, that's like having Chris Webber and Juwan Howard. They're playing the same position, man. They just you can't have them on the same team. I feel like that ain't the right move. But good question. I appreciate that, Eric Kirby. Thank you. Island Boy says, Rocha, what's up? Your beloved Washington football team. Which name are you rooting for? If it was all up to you, what would it be?
Are they going to announce one this year?
Danny Snyder said he wasn't.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they're going to announce the name anytime soon.
So another year of Washington football team.
Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah.
Do you like Washington football team? Is it grown on you at all?
I don't mind the Washington football team. WFT. Okay. I don't mind it. It looks good on the shirts. Yeah. You know, I initially made fun of it, but as I saw some of the merchandise come out, as I saw the way they called the games, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it at all. And maybe one more
Mark
year.
Ellis was rocking some.
Mark Ellis. He'll go wherever the Redskins tell him.
He'll go wherever.
He's not as discerning of a fan as I am, which I appreciate. I respect that, but I'm a little more judgmental. He's still young, the kid, so he isn't as cynical as I am about the team. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I like Washington Warriors. I always have because I like that. It still kind of evokes that idea of Native American fighting and stuff. Wait,
do you like that? There's already a basketball team with the Warriors?
No, I don't care. I don't care.
You don't mind the crossover?
There's a New York Giants and San Francisco Giants. There was a St. Louis Cardinals football team and baseball team at the same time. So I don't.
But they're in the same city.
In the same city. So I don't mind it at all. I don't mind it at all. So, but Washington Warriors, I like. I don't want Washington Red Tails. I think that's pandering. Even though it feels good, I think it's pandering. Mm-hmm. So to me, I think it's more a matter of that, especially because Dan Snyder's still going to own the fucking team, sadly. So I certainly don't want Washington Red Tails there because he's just using that to save his own image because he's a soulless SOB. So I don't like it. Washington Bullets.
No, how about Washington Navajos?
No, hell no, no. No Native American imagery at all. None. Zero.
I'm joking. That'd be horrible.
I don't want any of that shit. All right. Yeah. But yeah, I'm a big fan. Looking forward to Fitzmagic as well. We'll see what we can do. I think we have a shot. I like our schedule. We'll see what's up. New York Jets.
Oh, my God.
Winnipeg Jets. Good call.
You would love this one. The Washington Windtalkers.
Oh, my God.
You were in the movie, Rocha.
It's terrible.
It'd be amazing.
Be horrible.
You get to keep the Native American. Oh man, Nicolas Cage could be there for opening day.
Oh great! all the success he's had lately. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, all right, let's move on to some other sports stories here. We're going to try to keep this a little bit of a short show. Trevor Lawrence has signed. Speaking of football, he signed his contract, my man. Trevor Lawrence, $36.8 million rookie contract that comes with a $24.1 million signing bonus. Yes, over 4 years. He will count $6.7 million against the salary cap. The contract also includes a fifth-year option that is attached to every rookie deal for the first-round selection. Lawrence's signing bonus will be paid within 15 days, and the quarterback is deemed to have passed his physical for signing bonus purposes. This is from Adam Schefter over to ESPN. There is no offset language in the contract, so that means he's going to receive the full amount of his guaranteed money remaining on his contract, even if he were to be released and signed with another team. So, and he will earn his roster bonus even if he is on the active non-football injury list. So this kid is set up in 15 days, man. Basically set up. Do you like it signing them early, putting away all this drama, get him in camp, get it going? Yeah.
Listen, he's the first round pick. The price you're getting for like these first rounders, if they turn out to be like Patrick Mahomes, is a steal. Like anytime you get a rookie who's great out of the gates, you lock him down for like 4 years. I mean, $6 million. Come on. I mean, you do take the risk of him not being the next great quarterback, obviously, but that's a risk you're happy to take with a rookie on a 4 or 5 year option. Because if he turns out just to be half as good as like some of these other great quarterbacks that have come into the league, you're still under what you'd be paying a really high-end quarterback. So, listen, you got Trevor Lawrence. You got him number one. Make him happy and hope that he's as great as everyone says he's going to be. Will he be? Who knows?
Who knows? It will. And another part of this, and people seem to be kind of ignoring this part, is Urban Meyer going to be a good pro football coach overall? I mean, Trevor Lawrence may come ready to play, may have all the skills, but is Urban going to be able to transfer his skills from college? And he's going to be able to coach men, not boys, men in the league. That's what I'm worried about here.
Yeah, I feel like if you're a Jaguars fan, you're going to be either way. It's going to be interesting. You're going to be super happy by the end of the year or super sad. I don't know if there's going to be much of it in between. We'll see. I'm excited for it just because I'm always excited for new players to come out, especially when they come with that first round draft pick hype. Urban Meyer being the legend he was in college, like it just makes for great storylines, and the Monday morning quarterbacks are going to eat it up.
Oh my God, yeah! Especially if Tebow makes the squad, there's going to be all kinds
tight end,
of shit going on. Yeah, I mean, which is crazy, for sure. So yeah, but shout out to get your money, Trevor, get your thing. All right, we got 145 of y'all watching us right now live. Thank you very much for joining us. Please hit that like button. We only have 58 likes. Come on, people, let's get above 100 likes. Just hit that thumbs up button if it's your first day on YouTube. That's the like button. Give us some love. Give it some love and send in your Streamlabs and Super Chats as we go along. Vegetable wants to we talked about it. Vegetable 2, we sent a Streamlabs saying, I don't know if you talked about, but is Kawhi leaving the Clippers? Yeah, go back about half an hour, man. We talked about it. We went into what his options might be, but we both settled on the fact that he's probably staying and they're going to run it back. So just letting you know, thank you for the Streamlabs. Really appreciate it. Tim Sims says, just call it the Washington FT like Liverpool FC. Oh, I like that. I actually like that. I'm a fan of that. Okay. Patrick Anvil says Washington Glory. I like that a lot. because that could evoke the film, but it doesn't necessarily mean the film.
What would the symbol be? Like, what's your symbol then, though?
An American flag?
Yeah, I don't know.
You guys already have that locked up with the Patriots, so we can't really stick on that. So, well, do you think he sticks around more than 3 years, Urban? A lot of people asking that in the chat. Do you think he sticks around more than 3 years?
Depends on his record. The NFL, like, it's a win now league.
It really is.
If he has 2 years where he shits the bed, I think he'll be out in the third year. But if he manages to have above 500, they'll give him a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's tough for these coaches, man. They come in and they're supposed to make impact right away. Now it's not like back in old days, like, all right, we're hiring you for 5-6 years. Hopefully in 3 years you got us the playoffs. Like nowadays, it's like come in and we want to see results right away. It's tough.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to our next story. This one's a little bit messy, a little bit dodgy. So as two dudes, we're going to talk about it. But of course, as two dudes who have, who are of considered people of color, like this could be something we can talk about here on the show. So I wanted to put it on. I hope you all read the story over the weekend about Rachel Nichols. She's this established NBA host, reporter, journalist. She's been doing it for quite some time. Certainly has a great resume, fantastic training over there at Northwestern. So she's an incredible reporter and generated a lot of attention. She's hosting The Jump, which is the NBA show on ESPN. But apparently a video surfaced from a year ago that the New York Times got their hands on. This was in July of 2020. After this, she made some comments about her colleague Maria Taylor about her host, who is Black, how she might be hosting coverage of the NBA Finals instead of her. And she sought advice from LeBron James's longtime advisor, Adam Mendelson, on a call that was reportedly accidentally recorded because Nichols hadn't turned her video camera off. And she can be heard saying that she feels like Taylor's only being promoted over her due to ESPN's long and terrible record of diversity. That's not wrong in terms of the ESPN's record on diversity for sure. Rachel Nichols, this is her quote: "If you need to give her more things to do because you are feeling pressure about your crappy long-time record on diversity," which, by the way, I know personally from the female side of it, like, go for it. Just find it somewhere else. And kept saying, "I wish Maria Taylor all the success in the world. She covers football. She covers basketball. If you need to give her more things, fine. Go for it. Just find it somewhere else. You are not going to find it from me or taking my thing away." And so this became a big deal because it got known, it got leaked. Other reporters at ESPN heard about Maria Taylor was handed the hosting duties of an NBA show, but she refused to have Rachel Nichols appear on it. ESPN said okay, but then tricked her by having Rachel Nichols pre-record segments that Maria had to put on the show, which became a sticking point, an argument. And then ESPN was pressuring Maria Taylor to have Rachel Nichols on the show. And Jalen Rose and Wojciechowski pushed back and told ESPN to suck it. And they said they weren't going to be on the screen on the show before the show was going to shoot. They were going to sit out the show, which forced ESPN to change their mind. Now, this is all coming through and becoming a massive deal. And it's not like Rachel Nichols is not someone who hasn't earned her beat. She has. She's a great reporter, great following. People respect her. She has great colleagues, whatever. But this is a bad look overall to say these kinds of things. I don't care if you were doing it behind the scenes or in front of the scenes. It's kind of a bad look. What do you think about all this?
Rachel Nichols opened today's The Jump with an apology. I don't know if you saw that video.
What did she say? Tell me.
She basically was just like, she just apologized, honestly. She didn't say much else except for that she was sorry and that she needs to do better. And her two co-hosts, which was Kendrick Perkins, and I can't remember who the other guy was. Might have been Jason Williams, Jay Williams. They also spoke up for Rachel, but they also acknowledged that she made a mistake. Yeah. They weren't there to apologize for her, which I thought was the right thing to do. She made a mistake. She needs to own up to it. For me, the biggest thing is, like, you want to lift others up. I think, especially being a woman in ESPN with the diversity and, there's already things stacked up against you just as a female in this kind of world. So you would like to think that another female would lift another female up and understand but this is what happens. People get egos. They want to be the number one. They don't want to lose things, but so it's more just disappointing. I mean? It's disappointing because I would always want to think, while you do have to think of yourself, you also want to think of it as a team. You're on ESPN. You're a team. If you see in there a chance for another female, especially of color, to get a chance for a door to be open, you want to show them through the door. You don't want to close the door in their face. Yeah. So that's where, to me, it's like, it's kind of disappointing. But listen, when you get to TV, it's not like, you're working at a Chili's. You're not trying to go from hostess to server. It's a little bit cutthroat. It's a little bit of a cutthroat business. Oh, yeah. You kind of got to, I'm sure there's so much backstabbing and, trash talk being talked about all these other people behind the scenes of ESPN. So she is not the only person to do stuff like this, for sure. She just happened to get recorded. And we got to see an ugly side of the business, which I think is definitely part of the business.
Listen, and here's the thing that you got to look at too. Like the people who are disciplined here, the woman who recorded the call or who leaked the call, got access to the call, she's a black producer for the show. She was let go after a couple of weeks. Other people who passed it around of color were disciplined. Rachel Nichols was not disciplined for the things she had to say. So that's a bad look as well overall. And some people are already pointing it out in the chat. Everyone's woke and progressive till it threatens their job. You're 1,000% right. I've experienced this myself. I'm not going to speak on it too deeply, but I experienced it against a person who was white, who didn't want me to be on certain shows or only wanted me to be in second position and felt threatened by my desire to want more. And that became a source of frustration for me on a number of levels as I was trying to advance and learn more. But that person saw it as a threat to their job. And this is the same thing you see here. She saw this as a loss of status, a threat to her job. But you're right. Don't you think elevate? There's enough pie for everybody to eat. Elevate makes, and the thing is, you've put yourself in a position to be of service to the overall people that own the company. If they're telling you need to take a step back, that's the game. Just like other people had to be moved out of the way so you could take the spot, you sometimes have to move out of the way so someone else can take that spot, or at least part of that spot for a little bit. You want to elevate people, but you're right, JT. Once you get in this business, you get used to the money, you get used to the perks, you get used to the status. And when you see someone else coming up who's maybe younger, who's who looks like things are turning in that direction towards giving more people of color. How many times have people of color been sacrificed so white people can achieve what they've achieved in the sports world? How many times? I mean, I was just watching the baseball documentary over the weekend, the one that Ken Burns did, and I got reminded of Al Campanis's comments back in the 80s where he said, I just don't think black people can run teams, or black people, I don't think they have the tools. They're great players. They're genetically gifted, but they don't. And that was the mentality. So a lot of great, talented, intelligent black people were not considered for jobs. And the old white boy network kept moving up their people into those jobs. Well, this is the change now. White people are going to be sacrificed for people of color who are just as qualified, just as able to do it. And that's the price you're paying. And yes, women too, women too. I think of what Bill Barr said, how white women put their Gucci Vuitton loafers over and took over the Me Too movement from women of color who had initially started it. And you see that happening, a little bit of microcosm. And I'm not trying to throw any disrespect to Rachel Nichols' name. That woman has earned her place. She has worked hard. She's earned her place in the sphere. But like you said, JT, you got to elevate people in these situations. Got to be willing to step aside a little bit.
She mentions in this conversation that she has had hardships because of being a woman.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
You would like to think you could get compassion from that situation when you see another female on the rise that was in a position you were probably 5 or 3 years earlier. Yeah. So that's, to me, where it gets a little disappointing. It's just like, you'd like to think when those people break through to that next level, they're looking out for the people who, not the people that were in their way, but the people that are going on the same path they were on. Yeah. That's where it gets a little, and again, this was a private phone call. Yes, this is not like she was on a radio show. No. She was talking to an agent. Yeah. An agent all cares about is money and is there to, pump your ego, basically. So he wasn't going to say anything to like counter what she was going to say. He's just there to like tell her, of course, we need to get you this. So again, to me, it's just the, again, hopefully she'll learn from this. And she'll, hopefully she learns from this and takes different actions in the future, and she learns from this mistake.
Yeah, but clearly it's a source of problem, and she's working with guys that are black players, black basketball players, black commentators, black reporters. This is an issue, and ESPN does have a terrible record on diversity. And you look at this, and you wonder, you look at the NFL Network, and they're doing a way better job with this. The ESPN is trying to catch up here, but at the end of the day, they seem to veer in this direction more often than not. And her not getting punished for these comments overall, it's a bad look, because you're essentially saying she's getting promoted not because she's qualified, but because she's black. And you know what? So what? That's not a bad thing. Maybe it's okay for the scales to balance out. That's the thing that I get frustrated about sometimes. Why people are all about progressiveness and being woke or whatever the new term is, but then they get real mad when it threatens their stuff. I have a number of actor friends who are all about marching and protesting and all the jazz, but when they started going to these auditions and they were the only white person in the room, and there was a bunch of people from different colors auditioning, all of a sudden they felt they were being threatened and they were upset about it, or they're only getting in the room because they're people of color. Yeah. For once, the scales are going to be balanced, and it isn't the racists who are always going to have to pay the bill. Sometimes it's even the progressive liberal minds who are going to have to pay the bill to allow people of color to achieve things in this world. So I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just throwing it out there. So, but yes, Rachel did apologize. Rachel said she made numerous attempts to reach out to Maria Taylor, but Maria Taylor has chosen not to respond to her texts and to her messages. But I don't know. It's a bad look overall, but I have a feeling this is not the last time
we're going to hear about it.
Yeah. I'm sure there are plenty of white showrunners or white directors or white, both male and female, who are, because, it doesn't matter gender-wise, it's the color, because white women get preferred over women of color all the time over the last 20 to 30 years in any business. Well, since the dawn in anything. And I'm sure a lot of them are pissed off at seeing how many people of color are taking these showrunner positions that would normally have gone to white or men or white women in entertainment. So it's going to happen. This is the game. People need to accept it.
I believe Maria's in the middle of contract.
Yes.
Yeah, they're in the middle of negotiations. So this has probably made that a whole lot muckier. And, Rachel Nichols has been ESPN for a while. She's been there for a long time. She should have got some sort of I don't know, punishment or something. It's crazy to think that nothing happened. I mean, I guess it being out in the public is definitely gonna hurt her image overall.
I think they wanted to bury it. That's why they didn't punish her, but they quietly punished everybody else who wasn't on screen. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, Tim Sim says, this is why the best sports coverage are on podcast, YouTube, and Twitch. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that. Very kind of you. And someone asked us if we're going to talk about the Rachel Nichols situation. Well, we just did. So thanks, Alex Torn. I hope we talked about enough. And of course, if there are any women listening or watching, if we're incorrect on anything, please correct us. Any women of color or white women, please feel free to reach out and correct us. I got no issues with that for sure. Two dudes talking about it. All Sugan Oyewale says, hey guys, after this year, we have our final and it wasn't the expected teams, which honestly feels like it made the playoffs more exciting yet infuriating. What do you all feel about the playoffs this year? Exciting or infuriating? Yeah. What's your idea? What's your feeling, JT?
Mainly exciting. I said this in a couple of past episodes. It feels like the next generation of the NBA is here.
Yeah.
With Luka, Trae Young, Devin Booker, Giannis. I mean, Giannis has been around a little bit longer, but it feels like the new order is coming in. Yeah. And it's exciting. These are the guys we're going to be watching for the next, hopefully 20 plus years.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see Luka and some of these other guys battling it out with Zion. And it's exciting. It's exciting to get that fresh, it's going to be interesting once LeBron leaves. I think we had Jordan, we had Kobe, we had LeBron. There's not one guy right now you could say is going to be taking over that role as the guy. Kawhi, there's some arguments for Kawhi. There's some arguments for, some of these guys are up and coming, but they're not there yet.
Right.
So I'm curious to see how much longer LeBron's going to play and who's going to step up and be the new guy. Yeah. That's going to be really interesting for me.
I agree with you. I think there's a number of contenders that can take that spot. And KD's still roaming around, so don't forget about KD over there in Brooklyn. Yeah. He's still doing. He's a little bit younger than LeBron, so he could be something down the road who could take over for sure. You just never know. All right, we got 169 of y'all watching this live. Thank you very much. 91 likes. Get us over 100. We're 9 likes away from 100. Come on, people. Get it done. Get her done. All right, one more thing, or a couple more things here. Sha'Carri Richardson was suspended. JT, I asked you about last week when the hammer thrower, the young lady who's a hammer thrower, got kind of tricked by the playing of the anthem. But here we have Sha'Carri Richardson. She's suspended for a month for a positive marijuana test, and she will be barred from her signature race at the Tokyo Olympics. At this point, the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency announced this past Friday that Richardson had accepted the 1-month suspension after testing positive for THC. This occurred while she was when she won the 100 after she was tested when she won the 100-meter race at the U.S. Olympic trials in June 19th. She's been retroactively disqualified and replaced in the event. And Tokyo has been handed to the 4th place finisher, Jenna Prandini, and Gabby Thomas will be the alternate. So in an interview with Today's Show, she confirmed that she ingested marijuana just days before the Olympic trials after learning of the death of her biological mother. She said she learned of her mother's death from a reporter, a complete stranger. And she said that experience was definitely triggering and nerve-shocking and sent her in a state of, quote, emotional panic. She did not specifically say that is why she used marijuana, but spoke about dealing with my mental health and having to put a face on with the cameras around her. And she just tweeted simply when she found out about the suspension, "I am human." And she apologized to fans and sponsors. So you tell me, man, a lot of people, Patrick Mahomes went in. A lot of people said this, LeBron, a lot of people said this is bullshit. What's your reaction to this, man?
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. It really just shows you they need to go back and redo the rule book.
Yeah.
Did she break the rule? Yes. Should the punishment be this? No. And it's the excuse she gave too. It's like, I totally understand that. A lot of people use marijuana for mental issues, stress, and anxiety. We live in California, man. We could go to any store. There's a block from me. There's 3 dispensaries.
Yes.
Where you get edibles, flour, whatever you want. So it's like she's getting punished for going by a can of Coca-Cola at the grocery store. It makes no sense to me. It doesn't help her. It's not an enhancement. If anything, it hurts her. The last thing you're going to want to do is smoke right before a match. So it's not like
before you run. Yeah.
It's insane. Some people were saying online like she should be given extra points for actually be able to break a record like she did. It's a problem. This rule book probably hasn't been changed in like God knows how long. It hasn't changed with the times, and it's absolutely ridiculous. It shouldn't be an issue. Shouldn't be tested for. I don't even know why it shouldn't be tested for.
Yeah, Haskell 420 saying weed is the only performance enhancing drug for the competitors in the eating competitions. Yeah, exactly.
Joey Chestnut, the only one. He might be hitting a bong right before his hot dog.
Yeah, weed is not a performance enhancing drug. It's ridiculous that it's on the list. It's ridiculous you need to worry about. I mean, I could see if it's maybe for, I don't know what you want. I don't know what it could help you performance enhance in any way, shape, or form. It dulls your reactions to things. It messes you up inside, and the come down can be a little hard for some people. Also makes people paranoid sometimes. Yeah. So it's not like a performance enhancing drug. And I think that's a fair point when she brought up, listen, about her mother dying and her just kind of wanting to remove the pain. I started using marijuana when my father was diagnosed with cancer. I had never used marijuana before. When I was 37 years old, I started using marijuana for a couple of years with friends. I would go to their house and get high with them every Friday night, hang out at their place, drink wine, go and get ice cream sandwiches at 2 a.m. It helped me for 6 months as I was doing it cumulative over those 2 years to kind of get past this idea of my father having cancer and then eventual loss of my father. I rarely do it now, but at the time it really helped. It eased the pain. It put me in a different place of mind, and I was exploring it. And so I kind of totally understand where she was at, where she was feeling. And I think the USDA should have been, or AD, whatever it is, USDA should have been a little more understanding, a little more aware of all the situations. And it's a little frustrating, and it's a little racist as well. Like, we got to explore that situation too. Who are the people on this panel? Is it predominantly white panel, or do they have a connection where they think marijuana, black people, is this a thing? So I just think it looks bad all around.
This is like the very, very, very tip of the iceberg. Like, you get, the more you go down, like, people are in jail for marijuana, which is a joke, honestly, in my opinion.
True.
So like, this is like, you need to start working from the bottom up, but like, this should be this should be a rule that should even be in place.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the NFL is moving past it for sure.
Yeah.
So more and more organizations are moving
Ricky
past
Williams just came out at the wrong times, man.
Yeah. He'd have been just fine. Xavier Black Wiley said, as a black man seeing Sha'Carri Richardson suspended for weed is overblown discussion. It's legal in so many places.
So many.
Hashtag let her run. I agree. I agree. It is legal in so many places. And people understand the medicinal purposes of it overall for dealing with stuff. So yeah. All right. So let's see. Let's move on to another thing. See if we got any more Streamlabs. We're going to end the show here in a few minutes. So if you want to send any Streamlabs in, do it now before we run out of time. I'm going to get your quick thoughts. Dallas Cowboys are going to be on Hard Knocks. Thoughts? Is this a bad idea?
No.
Is this a good idea? What do you think?
I mean, listen, I love Hard Knocks. Every year, the Rams were on like twice within a few years.
Yes.
I mean, listen, it's a circus. Dallas is a circus. So what better team to go under the tent and see how it all goes down behind the scenes? I can't wait. I think it's going to be made for a very entertaining season of Hard Knocks. So in order to be on the team, you have to have a losing record, right? Did Dallas have a losing record last year?
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
yes,
they did. So
everybody did in the NFC least. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah. So I'm excited. I think it's gonna be great. I think they got that new stadium. Dak Prescott's back. They're not a horrible team either, which is like they could definitely make a push for the playoffs. So anybody in that division could make a push for the playoffs. So I'm excited. I think a lot of times you get smaller market teams on Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
I know you got the LA Rams, but like Cincinnati Bengals around a few times. Like, I'm excited to see a big organization like them. I would love for the Patriots to be on it. But I don't know if Belichick would ever let anybody behind the scenes. He'd be like, no way.
Maybe his final season. His final season. So yeah, I like the idea. I think it's dangerous though for Dallas, but anything that hurts Dallas as a Washington fan, I'm for. So unfortunately, Winston's not on the show to defend that, but I personally enjoy anything that's going to mess up Dallas's mind going into the season. It's certainly a little Mike McCarthy action on Hard Knocks. It could be a very, very interesting situation.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
And if the Ezekiel Elliott situation like kind of blows up, where is that going to go? So I'm very, very curious to see what they can do. But this could also be a great way for Dak to cement his image once and for all as a premier leader of an NFL team. So could be some positives that come out of this, along with some nutty, crazy Dallas Cowboy times for sure.
Gotta be some good Jerry Jones stuff in there.
Oh my God, of course. Yeah. Oof. I was watching America's game. They had the whole series yesterday on July 4th on NFL Network. I totally forgot that Jimmy Johnson retired left the team right after they'd won their second Super Bowl. I completely forgot about that. And what a bombshell that was at that time. Crazy.
Wow.
And they haven't smelled a Super Bowl since. All right. Or I guess they won one with what's-his-face Switzer, but then haven't smelled one since. All right, real quick, man. I want to talk about this with you, man. This Washington football team story that came out here. The NFL finally announced their findings into their investigation into the allegations of a, quote, hostile workplace culture with my Washington football team. In the end, led by a female lawyer here, Lisa Wilkerson, something like that, they came out with a punishment of a whopping $10 million for Dan Snyder. And along with that, he cannot resume control of the franchise without approval of the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. This is all kinds of shady shit because a week ago, 2 weeks ago, he officially took over as the primary owner of the Washington football team. He bought out the people who are the minority owners, and then last week installed his wife as the co-CEO of the club all of a sudden. So this tells me the NFL absolutely let him know what the findings were going to be weeks ago. And he may start, Dan Snyder, who's a despicable son of a bitch, started making moves to make sure he could just tell his woman what to do in running the team. And he's supposedly going to work on the new stadium and other matters. And this is ridiculous, man, because there was that report from the New York Times 3 years ago, almost 4 dozen women coming out to talk about the misogyny, the hostile workplace culture, and him hiring a bunch of women. Him hiring a bunch of people of color to cover his ass while still owning the team is ridiculous when you think about the fact that Jerry Richardson had to sell the Carolina Panthers after he's experienced or said equivalent racial shit at the time. So I find this to be insane. I don't know what pictures Dan Snyder has, but this is ridiculous, isn't it?
Listen, billionaires are going to billionaire, man.
Fair.
They know, you have enough money, you can do anything. 10 million is a slap on the wrist. It's nothing for him.
This motherfucker has an IMAX on his yacht. What the fuck's he got 10 million?
Exactly. So, I don't know what his relationship is like with Roger Goodell. So I don't know if, like you said, he was probably given a heads up.
Yeah.
Put all the pieces in place. But when you're at that level of money and power, nothing surprises me.
Yeah. It's madness. The attorneys for Lisa Banks and Democrats who represented 40 of the former Washington football team employees who sparked this investigation, they said the NFL is choosing to protect Snyder. Here's their quote: "This is truly outrageous and is a slap in the face to the hundreds of women and former employees who came forward in good faith and at great personal risk to report a culture of abuse at all levels of the team, including Snyder himself." Right. One of the women came forward and saying Snyder essentially told her to go sleep with this ophthalmologist who was a high-priced donor to the team. So he's a despicable son. You are the head of this corrupted organization and workplace culture. Somehow you're going to escape punishment.
At the end of the day, Goodell works for the owners.
Well, for the owners, right? Exactly.
That's the problem.
It's so frustrating. They said the NFL has effectively told survivors in this country that it does not care about them or credit their experiences. Yeah, this is. I mean, on the heels of the Bill Cosby situation. On the heels of Allison Mack only getting 3 years for essentially removing all these young women's agency and turning them into sex slaves for another man.
That's quite the news day.
Yeah, I mean, like, it is mind-blowing to me how disrespectful we are to survivors, to sexual abuse survivors, sexual assault survivors,
justice system,
survivors. Man. It's so fun. And when you see the NFL do it, it's almost worse because they're the ones with like breast cancer awareness and we love women and all of this, but the signs are all there. The actions are all there. And Goodell can visit every black community he wants to visit. It doesn't wipe the stain off of these shit that he does with his other hand, which is catered to these fucking billionaires, man. Enough is enough. And it's disgusting. I don't know what we do. What do we do as fans? We can't do anything.
Yeah, there's nothing we could do, unfortunately.
Yeah,
no one's going to stop watching football.
That's true, including me, sadly. So, but I hope people protest at every one of these home games. I would encourage these organizations that represent women of sexual assault and abuse and rape and all of that show up. I think men should show up to protest as well to support this kind of thing. And
unfortunately, you need to get these owners to like get kicked out of the NFL. You need a smoking gun. Yeah, like a tape. Right. Like, Clippers level. That's the kind of level of evidence you need to get these guys out because they have too many lawyers and too much money.
It's true. And I think Sterling still got $2 billion in his pocket for that whole situation. You're right. And it's a devilish move. It's an evil move to install a woman as co-CEO who's his wife because he can say, like, I put a woman in charge of the team. Bullshit. You put a woman who's dependent on your money who's going to do what you tell her to do. So it's phenomenally ridiculous and unfortunate these happen. And I don't know how much further my team can sink under that diminutive bastard's rule. I don't know. Oh, anyway, I had to get that out. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. All right. Any final words on anything we talked about here, JT? Any final words you want? Are you looking forward to anything?
Yeah, I mean, just excited for the finals to start tomorrow night. I'm excited to see how the matchups work out, what team shows up, what team doesn't, whether Giannis is going to play is the big that's the $1 million question. And if he does play, does he look like he's 100% or does he look like he's 35, 40, 50%? So that first game is going to tell us a lot. If Giannis doesn't play, then I'm not going to overreact to that first game. I'm not going to overreact to any of the first games, but it's a chess match. And I can't wait to see where the pieces lie.
One last thing. This happened just now. Atlanta Hawks general manager Travis Schlenk announced today that the team had an agreement in place with coach Nate McMillan to remove the interim label and keep him as the coach of the franchise going forward. You happy with this?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he earned it. I mean, look, I thought they show a lot of the behind the scenes, in him talking to the team, and he seems to have a real positive attitude. Seems like a good leader. Yeah, and he's proved it. So yeah, definitely happy. And the last thing I'll say is, of course, RIP to Richard Donner. It's not sports related, but he's one of my all-time favorite directors. Superman the movie is one of the first films I fell in love with. Yeah. So at least a weapon. I mean, the guy was great. He doesn't have like a huge catalog of films as much as like Spielberg or Scorsese, but he made great entertainment, and I think he's gonna be sorely missed.
He is the foundation of so many people's childhoods and their formative years with those movies. Absolutely. And you're right, he doesn't have the longest track record, but certainly 91 years old, though he left his mark on our entertainment and on our psyches for many years to come. And I still would argue his last film, 16 Blocks, is a damn good film. Yes, I liked 16 Blocks. Yeah. Don't forget. Good. Most Def, right, right. Good stuff. Conspiracy Theory, Scrooged, Lady Hawk, The Goonies. This guy did a number of movies that people just loved to pieces. And don't forget The Omen, which is one of the classic horror films ever.
Not a beloved film, but it's made some great gifts. Assassins with Antonio Banderas and Sylvester Stallone, Julian Moore. Not a great movie, but it was some great gifts that came out.
There were. That's for sure. All right, let's get on out of here. Thank you all so much for joining us here for this special holiday edition of Game Time. We appreciate you all. Please don't forget to hit a like on this video, and please leave a comment down below as well. JT, thanks for riding alongside me, brother. What do you got to promote? Tell people where they can find you.
Follow me on Twitter, man. I'm talking movies and playoffs.
There you go. Simple enough. Follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram as well. And please remember to subscribe to the channel down below. We just crossed 17,000 subscribers. Let's start marching towards 18,000 as soon as possible. And please hit that bell, which lets you know when we drop all the content on here. And follow me on Twitch, The Outlaw Nation on Twitch. I will do a live watch along tomorrow for the Spain versus Italy game for a couple of hours. So many of you join me for the England, Belgium, England, what's it? No, so the England, Ukraine game the other day. Appreciate it. Over 250 people watching that one. So please come and hang out with me tomorrow and do that watch along as well. Looking forward to it. I got England and I got Spain, and then I got England beating Spain in Wembley. That's my predictions overall there. All right. Take care of yourselves. Be well, everybody. Have a great rest of your holiday. And we'll talk to you next time on the brand new episode of Game Time.